What? Let's get ready to focus on our team game for AOE4. We've had fun with the nostalgia, but now we're going to have to see if we get to make fun of Too Good for Wololo, and if they're just too good for Winter Team Championship as well, as they are trailing one game down. Villager OP already on match point.
Oh, we're watching AOE4 today. Okay.
Yeah, are you sure?
Okay.
Knights. Well, I mean, there's knights and merchants in this as well, right? I mean, like, let me look at the civ choices. Core might go for trade, and then there's French players, so it fits.
We've bored our audience for enough time. So we're seeing Men at Arms start, which is I feel like this has been such the standard for English these days. I feel like I see it more often than not. But who is he gonna try to punish? That's my main question here. I guess you're gonna go after French.
Yeah, and it's worked out perfectly, actually. Look at the generation and where the French player is and where the English player is.
He's so lucky. Like he didn't even scout it, and he's just directly walking to French. This is the great start, and I don't really like this from Lash. I feel like so if you're the French player here, I think you can do one of two things. You can either tower to defend, or you can pull a lot of vills on gold early, so that you mine enough that you don't need gold anymore. But doing both, like he sent a lot of vills to mine gold, and he's making a tower. I feel like it's kind of doing too much of the same.
I guess he'll get the gold long term, but yeah, it's going to set him back quite a lot, especially when you think about the idle time of all those villages. For those who don't know how build speeds work in AoE4, the initial villager is 100% build speed, and then every villager pass is 25% extra. So, you know, you bring 5 villagers out, you don't actually reduce the minute build time of an outpost as much as you think.
Yeah, you always want to have as little amount of villages on building as you can.
Yeah.
And I feel like this tower also will not defend against any kind of longbow pressure down the line. Like the tower isn't in an amazing spot.
No, definitely not.
So,
And by the way, this was a little bit of a coin flip play from Airstrike to get initial impact, right? Because something to keep in mind is, in terms of where you place yourself in the lobby when starting the game, you can decide who's the center player, so the safe player. But the other two are random. So he could have been up against a French player, but alternatively, he could have been up against a Mongol player that usually have their gold and their wood right next to their TC.
yeah, and now, he sees the tower and is like, okay, on to the next victim. And I think Crickety kind of made a mistake making his house there. I don't know. I don't think it will actually get completely sieged down, but it's definitely risky to not build it like inside the TC radius. Okay, the orange does decide to just leave, but he was at the risk of that being sieged. And it's curious because I feel like every China build these days is opening with a village instead of a house. So maybe this is something new.
I'm wondering, like, okay, let's get big brain about this. It's probably not this, but Crackety has placed that house on the edge of TC range, right? So if the men-at-arms come in... No? No. Okay,
No,
so there is no big brain logic behind this. I was like, maybe it's if you torch it, you get shot and take, almost like the full damage from a hand cannon slit, but it's not. It's just...
No, the TC radius is quite a bit off, to be honest. I think like the very left of the house is probably where the TC radius is.
Maybe Crackety's just, trying to explain the Chinese housing market as it stands. A lot of houses, not enough for everyone. Just get the villagers, guys. That's the lesson here. Just get villagers.
It's interesting, right? Because I've always seen a village start with China. It's been so long since I've seen a house and it's one from them. But oh well. I mean, it's just small build order differences.
It's like if you want to go for a later lumber camp, right? Then you have to do houses instead of a village. But I agree. Like villages are just so good. Because it's not just the fact that it's more efficient in terms of wood investment for the housing. The other thing that's amazing about it is like most civs at this stage in the game have garrison room for 15 people safe in their economy. Every time you add villages, you get an extra 10 slots of safety.
Right. Well, for me, the way I like to look at things is Crackety is a very good China player.
Yes.
So when I see him build a house, that in my opinion, that just means that it's good. Because like I think people often they will see something that they're not used to and they will be like, oh, this is bad because I don't do this. It's like, well, if he's doing this, he's doing it for a reason. So even if I can't figure it out right now, I think it's usually better to assume that he's correct than that he's wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like usually when I see these different builds, I try to think out like the reason behind this. There must be a reason, right? It's just it's definitely a tough one for most players to justify because the village, like I said, it's not just an efficient proposition in terms of what it does for a wood cost to population. It's also the fact that it's a safe place, which could be very important when you consider both sides have French, so there are going to be knights raiding in. So like having a village drop next to your wood line gives you a save point. But my theory is that he maybe had this build opening requires him to not have to go into wood as early, so he had less wood to play with and had to go for small fractions into houses.
Yeah, that's probably the reason. Yeah. So what would be nice here if the orange player just sends like only just 1 or 2 longbows to this gold mine, then so they're kind of having this French mirror where they're both spamming knights. But if you have like 2 longbows show up at that gold mine and deny the gold, then your French player will get a knight advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see if that will happen.
Yeah, weird how he came out so much worse for wear on that initial clash there. So looks like he's going to be behind for the moment. Next strike. We are starting to see a few longbows added in. Remember, he starts with men at arms, he's adding in the spears as well. However, on the other side, Core, because he went for the silver tree, he's prepping Magadai here.
Is he? Oh yeah, he's made one. My bad.
yeah. It could be that he's baiting as well. Like it's possible because we've seen sometimes players will go up to 4 Magadai and then stop, which I feel like could make a lot of sense in this game as you are up against Lombos and Chugenu potentially.
Yeah, so he hopes to just get this archery range down, and so you can put the double production in queue. Even if the over goes down, you will still have the double production. So he needs to be like super quick.
Oh my!
On time.
And
like let's say that building got up, you can just spam the button as soon as the building is there, and then you don't need the over anymore. But like he's pretty. Like I'm expecting him to double produce traders at like and make a new UVU in the south probably.
A Nuvu, I like that. Now that you said it right the first time. Instead, he goes for the exact back corner, which is interesting because some players what they like to do is they like to keep the silver tree on the UVU and then just run a villager to build a marketplace, right? And then you have UVU with double production for the silver tree. And you're pushing double production the whole time instead of like having this delay. You could still just build the marketplace at home to achieve the same, but I don't think
surprising because I saw the silver tree being parked next to the stone mine at the south of Crackady's base earlier, so I was kind of expecting him to double produce from there, but he just moved it to the corner instead.
Yeah, and once again, I hope Core doesn't build too many Magadai. Like right now, he doesn't have the trade online. I do like Magadai against French specifically, and these early men at arms, but there's only a few of them. So it's mainly for the knights because I used to believe very heavily in Magadai as a counter to the French because they used to do the mass cavalry build, right? And the logic is you just ran along drive-buying them and they can never reach you. Yep. But in a team game like this, where 2 players have units that counter you, you're paying a premium for a unit that can't win a fight.
Well, I think basically the mindset is they want to be greedy, like they want to trade boom.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just leave your teammates to 2 versus 3, then you lose. Like you can die. So the mindset is like, okay, I'm just gonna make a couple units and then Magadai. Like if you're gonna go for like a small mess of units, like let's say you go 6 units, you much rather have 6 Magadai than having 6 archers, for example. So I think that's kind of the mindset where you just want to be like half a player for a while. Like you want to be at least on the map, and like 6 Magadai, because you have such a small army, you can micro them pretty well and you pick up reinforcements and stuff. So I do like the unit choice if you play for a greedy boom, but I mean he's never made traders yet, so.
No, where I really feel like what's important with Magadai is early as well is when you play Magadai, you have to be playing them with the Khan early. Because if you don't have that maneuver arrow, you're building this premium unit that can easily just die to a cough in its direction. And with the maneuver arrow, the Khan at least, you have a way of getting out. But right now, it looks like the Khan and his little motley crew are being somewhat annoying for Victo. As Victo, he did go for the fast castle up and has got the initial lancers out, but is being prevented from moving out to the mid-map.
Yeah, and it's so funny. You saw that he wanted to target the vills, like he right-clicked the vill, but it's like can't. Impossible because, yeah, you can't because, you know, then you just get slaughtered by the knights because they have to stand still to focus fire. And as soon as you move again, they start focusing the closest units again. So yeah. It's pretty funny how you can't can't control them in a way.
And you see what I was talking about, like when you're up against heavy carry, this is where the Magadai feel really good. And you know, the only issue I do see, and why I hope he stops like 6 or 7, is there's only probably one player who you can snipe eco against, and that's going to be the French player. Because if you look at the Chinese and English, they typically play condensed with a lot of static defenses. Oh, what?
Oh, he's in
this time is
serious
bad.
trouble here.
Yeah, cool. He needs some help right now. I mean, can you actually help him enough right now? Because Crackety went for a delay castle up, right? And Cork got caught in the middle of Cast Age. And if you look at the night count, I mean, this is more than enough for Village OP to beat the Green Knights. Lash doesn't have enough to defend this.
Yeah, this is looking bad for them. I mean, he's also not aging with the Stepper Doubts, but he's not got trade going, right? I don't... Oh, there's a couple now, my bad. But
yeah, he's deceptive. I think he's got like maybe, I want to say 3?
6 or something.
You think 6? Maybe, I want to
Yeah,
say, okay, 4 or 5. Not to disagree with you, it's just I'm looking on the map and it looks pretty pitiful, to be honest. Clash coming in though, with Lash is going to be wrapped around upon. Knights are not lasting long here, and it feels like the entire army is going to be wiped. Longbows will keep the Magadai out of the equation, and after this, Core is going to lose a lot of his home economy. There should be enough Knights left over to clean house here. Remember, folks, Village OP are already on match point. Too good for Warlord. Lose here. Clash,
Whoa, where are the
Lash,
hills going?
and Core are out.
There's nowhere to retreat to. It's just leading hills.
Okay, if enough villagers die, he'll get his whole economy safely in the town center. Done.
Yeah,
See, look, now almost 100% of his economy is safe. Oh my god. We're 12 minutes in, and including traders, Core I think has been reduced to about 21 eco units.
Yeah, this is crazy. I think they're in so much trouble here, and I do want to quickly mention about my own team. Like, they were facing the winners of the series, and I already saw that there was like this little what's it called on Discord when you make like a new text channel. They were discussing all the core teams drafts and everything. But like looking at this, we might be able to just delete that thread again because we might get a different opponent than expected.
Yeah, I hope they've taken notes on Villager OP, because it's not the villagers that look OP in this, it's the coordination from all 3 members of this team. Everyone is contributing to this win condition. Love the fact that Victo got a quicker tech up timing and immediately converted it into aggression. I mean, just look at the heavy cavalry count. They have 34 between 2 players. Meanwhile, on the other side, it's 13 Palace Guard, 7 Knights, and a pitiful 4 Magadai.
Yeah, I love this choice from Victo. Because you know, we're used to seeing like 2 Canoe and stuff, but he was like, alright, we already have the Archer Ball under control from our English player, we already have longbows. I'm just gonna fast castle and go Knights, and I think it makes so much sense here.
I feel like we're half and copium every time we look at the trade. He got interrupted in the tech up again. He can't even afford to rush it.
Oh no, he changed the landmark and then it also stopped building at like 90%. Oh no, Core.
I mean, to be honest, that's all the villages he has inside the town center. So at that stage, he's like, well, if I lose these, I can't do anything anyway. Feels like you can't do anything either way at this situation right now. Even if he somehow managed to complete the tech up, where and how are you building units? There is really nothing that you can build with. All your villagers are here. If the town center is gone, you have 15 builders, and that is literally it. And soon, those builders are going to be exposed. With this many knights, the moment they come out, Core is losing every villager he has.
Yeah, he's pretty much done for.
The Great Migration. And notice that Jinmo will turn around to clash, and in the meantime, Victor will chase off the remnants of the Mongol Empire here. Last of the villages are going to be flopping, especially with Jimmo now going for the pincer maneuver. There is no running from the Death Ball.
Yeah, no textiles will save you there. And what is interesting is like sometimes you have this game state where one person on the team completely dies, but the other 2 players went super greedy, so you can still win 2 versus 3. But I feel like in this game state, it's just simply a 3 versus 2. I don't think that Lash or Crackety have been like, you know, it's not like they've been 40C booming behind this or something. They're just straight up behind.
I mean,
And,
you're close to 4 TC boom with the Chinese, right? Because I think Crackty went for a second TC. I think that was the big difference, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, Victor played Song 1 TC. So he didn't go for that extra greed, which is why he got a quicker castle timing. I believe.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And like in 3v3, quite often like greed is good, but you don't have to like you have to remember that this is Arabia, and you know, you're gonna get punished. Like they wanted to play greedy, and you know, this was one too much. Like Crackety wanted second TC, and Core wanted to trade boom, and most of the time you have to do one of the two instead of both. And I think that's one of the reasons that they fell flat here.
Yeah, it's kind of like going greed is good and then have a meaningful picture where someone's got a giant bar of gold dropped on them that has crushed them to death, because it really feels like that's what's happened here. Lash is scrambling to try and keep everything at bay, but it feels like a matter of time before they're going to be annihilated. The only thing that's really keeping them alive is the hope of this Nest of Bees to allow them to survive. But look at the damage on the Palace Guard line already. They're not going to last long. Knights are going to just wrap around towards the Nest of Bees. Just a few Knights left behind to keep the Lombo safe. And remember, Palace Guard have less ranged armor. They die faster, just like the hopes and dreams of Too Good for Wololo. They will call GG, Core will surrender, and that means that Villager OP continue through with a 2-0 sweep. Too Good for Wololo have no hope of making the Winter Team Championship main event.
Yeah, and I'm extremely impressed. Like, my team is gonna end up facing this team, and I'm pretty scared for them because they were looking super clean. I felt like in these two games, I didn't really spot any mistakes. Very well done.